Hi, everyone. If you can hear me, please let me know. We'll be starting shortly, just waiting for a few more people to trickle in. Thank you so much. Once you've joined, please make sure to mute yourselves. Thank you. Okay. Ms. Quillers asked me to start at 7:05, just because we're waiting for a few more people to get in, and she herself will be joining us shortly. Can everyone see the screen being shared?
Mo, can you make me co-host? I
Of course.
that. Mo, the email that I sent to you, is it possible? Let's just really quickly go through the email while we're admitting people. Do you have it open or no?
Sure thing, I can open it.
Let's do it.
No. So this one? Francis, is this the one you were speaking about?
Yes, let's please scroll down more.
You got it.
We'll keep going. More. All right, so let's take a look here. So we have an upcoming class, everyone. It starts June 5th and it runs until the 20th. It's pretty intense. So if you would like, those of you who are already enrolled, you got a taste of how strong our courses are. So please take a look at this schedule. It's already on the website. You're welcome to share it. We're going to put that through. This is the upcoming course. It's nice and it's rather compact. Let's keep going. Scroll down. Everyone who signs up for the course, they get the Hunter 10 test book. Let's keep going. The Hunter entrance exam book, which also has a vocabulary, which is really important for the section. Let's keep going. Those of you, hopefully everyone received the email, please keep in mind that Hunter will look at fourth grade scores this year. You know what, I might actually skip this over. I think that a lot of the families already know this, so just keep in mind that everything's in your email. If you have specific questions, you can email us. I'm really happy that we're doing this. Mo, I want to take this amazing opportunity to, as we're just kind of, we can just keep scrolling down just so that everyone can get a glimpse of information. Mo, thank you so much for hosting this. You do everything I ask. I could not ask for a better colleague on the planet. You're amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that we're having this opportunity right now to go through the Hunter exam and what to expect in the exam. Without further ado, I think we can get started. I think we can get started right away. All right, so we'll go through your background and your information, and parents, please use the chat box if you have any questions. I just want to let you know that we are registering right now for the new course if anyone's interested. And that's it. And Mo, we're good on the screen. If you could just make it a little larger, Mo, if that's possible.
Yeah, I'm gonna zoom in.
Yeah. All right. So let's start from the very beginning and we're going to go through reading tips and strategies. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Go ahead.
Thank you, Francis. So good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Mo. I'm one of the tutors here at Queller Prep, and I've been tutoring in the New York City area for almost 14 years now. I myself went to Hunter College High School and graduated in 2012. After that, I went to NYU for my undergraduate degree, and then I got my MBA from NYU back in 2019. And I currently work as a senior associate in a healthcare consulting group, company. But throughout all of these years, throughout all the various kind of jobs and opportunities I've had, tutoring has been something that I've felt very strongly about. And so it's something that I make sure to make time to do because I truly do enjoy it. So today's class session will be going over the English portion or the reading comprehension section of the Hunter test and just testing in general, because a lot of these strategies are going to want to, you're going to need not just for the Hunter test, but for tests that are going to come up in the future over and over again. So we're going to begin things off with what makes the ELA or the reading test on the Hunter test a little bit different. There's 50 multiple choice questions. Now it's recommended that the reading section take you about an hour because the entirety of the test is 3 hours long, and the test has 3 unique sections. One is the ELA, the other is the math. Both of those make up the multiple choice portion of it. It's listed here right in front of us, 50 multiple choice ELA and 30 multiple choice math. Each multiple choice question is followed by 5 answer choices. There is no penalty for guessing. They make that clear here. Just to clarify what that means is if you get a question right, you can either have one of 2 values assigned to you. It's either correct and you get a point, or you don't get a point and it's whether it's wrong or left blank. That's why on the test, there should be no reason to leave any single question blank, because if you're running out of time, you should guess and move on. Lastly, the third portion of the test is the writing assignment, right? It's usually the essay, but that's the section we won't be covering today. Just to break things up and clarify the way the scoring has been done in the past, the 30 multiple choice for math is out of 50 points, and the 50 multiple choice in the ELA is also out of 50 points. So that means that each math question, if we just look at it strictly from a multiple choice point of view, is weighted a bit more than each reading question, since each reading question will be worth 1 point. So that makes up 100 points for your multiple choice portion of the test. And then the essay is graded on a different scale, and they do that differently. Now that I'm going to move on to reading, we're going to go through these passages. But first, I would like to list out some strategies that I use all the time for reading and then showcase how I would utilize those strategies. So what I'm going to do here is, as I'm going through the test, I'm going to actually go to a blank page now, and I would advise everyone here to take notes along with me, because these would be very helpful strategies for you. A lot of these strategies are things that I've used throughout my life, taking all the different kinds of tests that I have and have found success in them. People do have different strategies, but these are the ones that I know have worked for me, and these are the ones I usually teach students when I work with them. So, reading comprehension can be broken down into two systemic portions. One is the reading portion of it, right? And the other one is the questions. So, one thing I believe is that there are two schools of thought, right? Some people say that you should read the questions first and then do the passage. But what I found is that doing the passage first, reading the passage as a whole without worrying about, oh, what are they going to ask, has always been better off for me. Because what I've noticed, especially with younger students, is when they just read the questions, they scan the passage, not really understanding it, and just going for like, okay, where can I get this detail to answer the question? Some questions you will have success in that manner, but for a lot of other questions which ask you about like the context behind what's going in the passage, just because you're solely skimming, you're going to miss a lot of important details, and then you're going to get those questions wrong. So to maximize the amount of success we can have, I always suggest that students read the passage first. So that's my first tip. Read the passage first. Now, when I say read, I really mean skim. And the difference between reading and skimming is really just two little things to keep in mind. When you skim, you only pay attention to the important details, right? So you pay attention to big picture moments. Pay attention to major details. And you ignore the minor ones. And this is a skill the more you do, the better you get at it. You perfect over time. So I'll give you all an example. If I'm reading about a portion of a story where our main character goes to a store to buy ingredients for something that she's going to bake, then I'm not going to really care, or I'll brush over the portion which talks about all the little ingredients that she's getting, the list, because I know that if a question arises about that list in the passage, in the question section after the passage, I can just go back and figure out what was said there. But while I'm skimming it, I'm just trying to get the major portions. So the major point for that part of the story would be, why did my main character go to the store? What was her intent? What was the purpose? Did anything happen at the store that's important to the overall advancement of the plot? Those are the things we would be thinking about as we're reading. So that's my first piece of advice: is when you're reading, read the passage first, skim it, pay attention to the major details, ignore minor attention details. Next up, as you read or as you skim, it's very important to annotate. And annotating is something we've stressed at Queller forever, right? Miss, Francis, back when, this wasn't virtual, all the students would be, encouraged in class to be taking notes on the paper itself, wherever we were doing reading. They would highlight, they would underline. And that's really what annotating is taking notes on what you read so that you're simplifying it for yourself, right? And so we would tell students to annotate paragraph to paragraph, but there's an exception to this. If you get a passage that's very hard to decipher because it's written in like old English, I'm talking about English in like the 1700s, then you might want to slow down and think sentence to sentence, what is the narrator, author trying to convey here? And then you would scribble that down on the side so it's easier for you to understand. Now, when you do your annotations, remember that they are for you. So they only need to make sense to you. So as you'll see, when I'm reading a passage, I'll go through the passage, but my annotations on the side might be only single words or a picture, because that's enough for me to pay attention and understand what I'm trying to say. But for all of you, I'll have to explain what that picture means or what that word means or what it's the full meaning of what I'm trying to convey. As you annotate, some of you parents may be familiar with these terms, KISS and DID. So what these stand for is that as you annotate, you want to keep it simple and short. I've modified the second S so that students don't get roused up by me using a different word. Keep it simple and short. Because you don't want to spend too much time on your annotations themselves. If you spend too much time on your annotations and you make them just as long as a paragraph, it defeats the purpose of annotating. And DID stands for dumb it down, right? I often find, and you'll hear me say this over and over again, in reading comprehension, you are your own worst enemy because you have a tendency to complicate what you're reading. If you're able to just kind of simplify what the narrator is trying to say at this point in the story, the narrator is happy, the narrator is sad, right? Simplified down to its main components, it makes understanding and navigating through the passage a lot easier. There are two exceptions, by the way, and I want to make them clear for annotating to paragraph by paragraph. One exception is if a paragraph is too long, then you want to split it up into two sections and do it section by section, right? Split long paragraphs. Or if a paragraph is too complex, right? It's written in Old English was my example. Paragraph is too complex, right? Or too wordy, then you might want to split it up. But other than that, read the passage first, skim it, and annotate as you're going through it. Yes, I would advise you all to take notes.
And everyone, use this opportunity, type your questions in. We don't want you to ask questions because it'll slow the progress of the webinar, but please type your questions into the chat. This is your opportunity. Okay, Mo, just 1 second. I just want to do a mute setting. So everyone use this opportunity to type. All right, and Mo, you can unmute yourself, okay? Go ahead.
All right, can everyone hear me? Good. Just type it in, don't say anything.
Perfect.
Okay, great.
Yeah, perfect.
Great. So we're gonna read the passage first, skim it, and then annotate. And then lastly, right, the other thing that I want everyone to do, you get better at this as well, the more tests you take, the more practice you do. It's to predict. I'll give you all a very simple example that really gets this idea through to students that I've worked with in the past. So you want to predict questions that you already know the answer to. So I'm going to go on a little tangent here to explain what I'm trying to say. Imagine now I see that there are 66 participants in the call. Imagine that you all are in my class and I'm a social studies teacher and we're talking about the Civil War, right? And we're going to have 2 weeks of class, week 1, week 2, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And this is the day of the exam. And these 2 days are for review, right? So as we're going through the topics of the Civil War, you notice that I spent 3 days on one particular battle, and I spent one whole review day on one particular battle. As a student in my class, without me having to say anything, based off how the class has been taught, you know that on the exam that's coming up, this one particular battle that I've spent 3 days of class on and 1 day of review on is going to be a major important part of this test, right? And so you're able to make that prediction because of one thing, repetition. So whenever you see, now going back to reading, whenever you see something being repeated or stressed by the author or narrator, by the narrator, that's definitely going to be a question. So that's what I mean by predict questions that you already know the answer to. Because you're already thinking as you're skimming through it that, oh, this is going to be a question, and so this is the answer. And I know that this is going to be the case. 9 times out of 10, if you make that realization as you're reading, it's sure enough a question on the actual passage. Okay, I hope everyone understands what I mean by predict questions that you already know the answer to now. And the last tip I have for the reading side of things is always be aware of what person or what format, what point of view this passage is being written from. So pay attention to point of view. So I'll give an example. First person point of view is going to say the words like I or me. Second person, so this is what type of point of view, and these are kind of like the hints in the passage that'll give it away. The second person point of view is going to say something like you, we, us. So that's when the narrator is talking to the reader. And third person point of view is he, she, they, right, and so on. So why is this important to know? In some passages, there may be dialogue back and forth, so you need to be aware of who's speaking. Other times you'll see a narrator is not really part of the story. So that so you want to pay attention to, well, then whose point of view is the story being said, and what do they know and what do they not? That's really it. All right. So those are all of my tips for just reading through a passage. For questions, there's many more. We're going to go through them really quickly before we go on to an example passage. As you're handling the questions, the first thing I want you to be sure of is, and be aware of, is you tend to be your own worst enemy in reading comprehension. And it's because of one reason, and that reason is because of doubt. I'm sure this has happened to everyone in the call right now. You're doing your multiple choice reading comprehension question. You're going through the answer choices A, B, C, and D, and you're like, it's not A. Okay, B sounds good. It's not C. It could be D. And you keep on going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And whereas before you were so sure that B is definitely the answer, you go ahead and you pick D. And you pick the wrong answer because the right one was B all along. Right? That's happened to everyone here. So what we're trying to do is minimize that from occurring in the middle of the test. And the way you do that is by gaining confidence. And obviously there's two ways of gaining confidence. One is definitely a little bit longer than the other. That's by doing more practice problems. But the other one, as you're reading to gain confidence, is by being able to provide evidence. So there are many types of questions, right? There's the main idea. There's detailed questions. There's inference questions. We have author questions like author's mood, tone, purpose. There's not/except questions. There's vocabulary questions. All of these questions, regardless of what question type there is, they're all done the same exact way, which is by providing, so I always say answer every single question by providing passage-based evidence. So answer all questions by providing passage-based evidence. And the reasoning for this is pretty straightforward and simple. Every single reading question shouldn't have to be argued for, right? There's no debate. There's only one right answer. And for that right answer to be right, there has to be evidence. And that evidence has to exist from the passage because all of these students are coming from different schools with different backgrounds in reading. So they need to have a common source from which they can pool that evidence. And that's going to be the passage itself. Now, one of the ways to get good at doing this is to make sure that as you read, you're annotating. Because if you don't annotate, then you're not aware of taking notes and getting your evidence ready for any type of question that may come up. Okay. The other tips that I'm going to list down here on the question side is how to avoid being confused as you're going through the questions on the passages. First is, if an answer is partially right, it is completely wrong, right? If one part of the answer is right, but the second part is iffy, then that's not going to be the right answer. So if an answer choice is partially correct, then it is completely wrong. Does everyone understand that? The second piece of advice I have for you is, because one of the ways that doubt is created is by reading the answer choices. I do this a lot, is after I read the question, I ignore the answer choices whenever I can, and I try to come up with my own answer, right? The correct answer in my own words. So whenever possible, prior to looking at the answer choices, internalize the correct answer in your own words. That is wildly important. You can find a lot of success doing questions that way, especially questions like the main idea question. Okay. For detailed questions, right? One of my biggest pieces of advice, and you'll see me whenever I take tests, I still do this, is if there are multiple answer choices, right? If I'm going to pick B as an answer, I back it up with evidence right away. I say, oh, this was found in line 13, or this was found in paragraph 2. And you'll see me right next to it, right next to the passage itself, in paragraph 2, I'll write down, if this was question number 4, I'll write down question number 4, because I found the evidence right here. So this is my way of lessening doubt by making sure that every answer I pick, I have evidence for it. The other reason why this is a good strategy to use is, say that you're done taking the test and you have a few more minutes left and you want to review. If you want to review now, reading the whole passage all over again might not give you ample enough time to go back and then do the questions again. But if you just go from question to question, look at where your evidence is from to back up that answer choice, you can quickly skim through just this portion instead of having to reread the whole passage. So it again strengthens the fact that you know what your answer is supposed to be. Does everyone understand? Okay, great. So this is basically me saying, provide evidence. Okay. Next up, avoid extreme answer choices. I'll explain what that means. Extreme answer choices are answers that have statements that use the words always, never. And the reason why they're going to be wrong more times than not is because, I'll give you a very easy example, they can be proven wrong quite easily. If I said the statement, Mo has gone to the bank every single Thursday of his life, and it's true, I've gone to the bank every single Thursday of my life, but I miss one day, that statement is no longer true. It can easily be proven wrong. All it takes is just one example. That's why words like always and never do not tend to be the right answer. You want to go for safer words, right? So instead, choose safer words such as often, usually, because they themselves don't need just one exception to be proven wrong. That's what makes them a safer, stronger word to use. Okay. Moving forward. I think one of you is unmuted. Would you please mind muting your mic? All right. Moving forward. When you're stuck between two answer choices, what do you do? So when you're stuck between two answer choices, look at what makes them similar, but more importantly, what makes them different. Okay. So when stuck between two answer choices, choose the one that has more evidence, but also base your choice around what makes the two answer choices different. Okay. The last strategy I'm going to add on before we move on to an actual passage is the not/except one. So when especially dealing with not/except problems, you want to use process of elimination. So POE stands for process of elimination. I'll give you a very quick example for why that's the case. A, B, C, D, and E. If I have 5 answer choices, and they tell me that and the question is, which of the following was not mentioned in the passage? Before I can pick an answer, I have to cross out all the ones that were mentioned. So for example, let's say this was found in line 3. This is not going to be my answer. This was found in line 14. This is not going to be my answer. C, I couldn't find anywhere, but before I can pick it, I have to ensure that D and E were not found in the passage. So this was found in line 20. This was going to be found in line 31. And that's how I would ensure to pick C. Does everyone understand that? Okay, good. Oh, and I know I said that this was going to be my last one, but I do want everyone to take note of this because it's important. Just because an answer choice is factually true doesn't mean it's the right answer, because it has to answer the question being asked. So I'm going to write that down over here on the side, but I just want to make sure that it's clear to everyone what I'm trying to say. Just because one of the choices is factually true, it was mentioned in the passage, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily right, because it has to answer the question being asked. And that's really, really important. Okay. So just because an answer is factually true does not make it right. It needs to answer the question being asked. Okay. I hope this is, clear to everyone. Someone asked, is this only for nonfiction? This is for all types of reading. Okay. All right. With this being said, I'm going to move on to the next page. We're going to get our first glance at one of the sample questions from the Hunter Sample Test 2 on their website. So starting things off, reading passage A, always read the little introduction that's written before the passage itself. That's important. This reading passage is from Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, 1845, the autobiography of an African-American slave in Maryland who escaped to New York and helped lead the anti-slavery movement. Okay. I lived in Master Hugh's family about 7 years. During this time, I succeeded in learning to read and write. In accomplishing this, I was compelled to resort to various stratagems. I had no regular teachers. My mistress, who had kindly commenced to instruct me, had, in compliance with the advice and direction of her husband, not only ceased to instruct. Okay, right away, I see that compliance is underlined. So that yells out to me, hey, there's going to be a question. Just prepare yourself for it. Okay. But had set her face against my being instructed by anyone else. It is due, however, to my mistress to say of her that she did not adopt this course of treatment immediately. She at first lacked the depravity indispensable to shutting me up in mental darkness. Okay, so we're going to dissect the first paragraph here. So this is from Frederick Douglass's point of view because it's an autobiography. He was an African-American slave who escaped. So he's saying that when he first lived in this master's house, he learned how to read and write. But it took him a while. One of the reasons why is because his mistress, who was very kind to him in the beginning, stopped, not only ceased to instruct, so stopped giving him instructions on how to read, but also made sure that no one else helped him out either, right? It says that, but had set her face against my being instructed by anyone else. Okay. And luckily, he says that it was because my mistress did not adopt this course of treatment immediately. So she was kind in the beginning. All right, so these are the notes to take, right? Mistress, nice at first, then says no because of husband. So for me, this is enough. Like these notes is enough for me to understand what was going on. For you, that may not be the case. That's why I was saying when you annotate, you want to make sure your annotations are clear to you. At the end of the day, the points that we both get, like the major point from this paragraph should be the same, but our annotations may look different. The next thing is compliance. That's the word I need to figure out. So I'm going to go ahead and read it again. My mistress, who had kindly commenced to instruct me, so commence means started, So his mistress, the mistress of their household, right, had kindly commenced to instruct him, had, in compliance with the advice and direction of her husband, not only ceased to instruct, but had listened to the advice and direction of her husband. So compliance means listen or agree to, right? Listen to or agree to. And now I can move on. Okay. My mistress was, as I have said, a kind and tender-hearted woman, and in the simplicity of her soul she commenced, when I first went to live with her, to treat me as she was supposed to one human being ought to treat another. So in the beginning, she was very, very nice, kind to me. Slavery proved as injurious to her as it did to me. When I went there, she was a pious, warm, and tender-hearted woman. There was no sorrow or suffering for which she had not a tear. She had bread for the hungry, clothes for the naked, and comfort for every mourner that came within her reach. Okay. So this is before, I guess, the effects of slavery on her. He just says she was kind. All right. She was giving. She was a kind person. Slavery soon proved its ability to divest her of these heavenly qualities. So divest means to get rid of. Under its influence, the tender heart became stone, and the lamb-like disposition gave way to one of the tiger-like fiercenesses. The first step in her downward course was in ceasing to instruct me. So he noticed something was wrong when she stopped giving him lessons. She now commenced to practice her husband's precepts. So her husband's like rules, I guess, right? His rules, his suggestions. It's one of those words. She finally became even more violent in her opposition than her husband himself. So she became like even worse than the husband, right? She was not satisfied with simply doing as well as he had commanded. She seemed anxious to do better. Nothing seemed to make her more angry than to see me with the newspaper. So she became like really against him trying to learn. Against, I'm going to say FD because that's Frederick Douglass, learning to read. So she became against FD learning to read. All right. She seemed to think that here lay the danger. I have had her rush at me with face made all up on fury and snatch from me a newspaper in a manner that fully revealed her apprehension. So she was not okay at all with him trying to learn, right? From this time, I was most narrowly watched. So from now on, he was watched very carefully. So narrowly watched just really means like carefully under surveillance. So carefully watched, right? If I was in a separate room any considerable length of time, I was sure to be suspected of having a book, and was at once called to give an account of myself. All this, however, was too late. The first step had been taken. Mistress, in teaching me the alphabet, had given me the inch, and no precaution could prevent me from taking the L. And so there's a little star here, so that means that they're going to define the word for us. It's an old measure length equal to more than a yard. So he's saying that she had given me an inch, but now I wanted the entire thing. Okay, does that make sense? All right. So here, now this is going to be my annotation for this one, is FD was hooked. Nothing was going to stop him from learning to read and write. Okay. I'm so sorry. All right. Let's move on to the last paragraph. The plan which I adopted, and the one by which I was most successful, was that of making friends of all the little white boys whom I met in the street. As many of these as I could, I converted into teachers. With their kindly aid, uh, obtained at different times and in different places, I finally succeeded in learning. I'm so sorry about that. In learning to read. When I was sent on errands, I always took my book with me, and by doing one part of my errand quickly, I found time to get a lesson before my return. I used also to carry bread with me, enough of which was always in the house, and to which I was always welcome. For I was much better off in this regard than many of the poor white children in our neighborhood. This bread I used to bestow upon the hungry little urchins, who in return would give me the more valuable bread of knowledge. So now we understand where he's learning how to call, right? He's learning how to read, and that reading is coming from being able to trade with the children here, right? He's trying to give them things to do and do things for them, right? So that they would teach him how to read.
Mo, I'm not hearing you. Do you hear me? Sorry, guys. Mo, let me see. Mo, I'm making you host. Hold on. Mo, can you make me co-host? Are you there? Uh-oh. Give us 1 second, okay? Hold on, just 1 minute. I'm gonna figure it out, okay? Just one moment, everyone. Hold on. Mo, are you back? Hold on, guys. Just one moment. Hold on. Everyone, hold on just 1 second. Hold on. Everyone, give it just 1 second. I'm gonna connect with Mo directly and figure out what's going on. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second, okay? Hold on, guys. Everyone, I just need 1 minute. I need to log in from Mo's account, okay? So everyone, please why don't we take just 1 minute just to stretch? I'm gonna go right now. Okay, everyone, I'm gonna go right now and I'm just gonna log in from his account. I'm gonna figure out what's going on, okay? We are not able to see his screen. Mo, I just made you a host. Everyone, literally give me 1 minute. I just need to go into my laptop and I'm gonna log. All right, hold on. Please bear with me. Let's use this for a minute just to stretch.
Can everyone see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, great. Sorry about those technical difficulties. I kept on going because I didn't realize that the screen stopped sharing at all, or that I was out of the call. I apologize for that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add a little tiny safety feature while you're working. So I'm good. Can you make me co-host really quickly?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now.
Not host, just co-host. I just want to be co-host.
I don't think there's a way to make co-host. It's either passing on the host completely or not.
That this was a good lesson for me. This is definitely I usually, well, how about we leave it at that? Anyway, let's keep going. I'm gonna just add a
Okay.
little. I'm gonna join through another channel. Go ahead, keep
Okay,
going.
no problem. So, I hope everyone got to at least see how I ended the passage, and I'll start redoing the questions. So the last paragraph, right, of the passage, basically the notes I took were that he engages with the local white boys in the neighborhood to learn how to read. He exchanges bread with them because that's something that he always had a lot of coming from his master's home to give to them in exchange for the bread of knowledge, which he found much more valuable. Now, in order to do the questions, I did a quick re-summary of what I read through both of the through all of my annotations from the beginning of the passage all the way to the end, and now I moved on to the questions. So compliance in line 4 means what? So I went right back, and compliance means listen to or agreed to. So I'm looking for the closest answer to the one that I've already picked, and that's got to be obedience. So as a result of taking these notes and annotations from beforehand, going through the questions will be much quicker. Because the number one concern I get from parents and students in the beginning is, Mo, if we're putting in so much time and taking notes into the passage, won't that make answering the questions, won't that leave very little time to answer the questions? While true that they will leave far less time in answering the questions, you'll have a better chance of getting every single question right. And you'll notice that I'm not going to be spending as much time on the questions themselves. Number 2, in line 8, Douglas emphasizes that his mistress was tender-hearted in order to do what? So let me go back. So it says here, I had already highlighted it, but I'll redo that portion. My mistress was, as I have said, a kind and tender-hearted woman, and in the simplicity of her soul she commenced, when I first went to live with her, to treat me as she supposed one human being ought to treat another. This entire paragraph that this sentence is the first part of, the whole point of this entire passage, entire paragraph of the passage was that the mistress, right, his master's wife, she changed her attitude towards him. She was very kind in the beginning, but then she flipped to being much more cold and tyrannical. So the answer is going to be to develop a contrast, to show the difference between the two types of women that she would go on to become. Number 3, as used in line 13, divest means to do what? So let's go back. We said divest means to get rid of, right? Is to take away. It says slavery soon proved its ability to divest her of these heavenly qualities, to either lessen, to shut out, right? We're looking for something of that nature. Rob, I mean, this is kind of like a bit extreme, so I'm like, hold on to it. It's not a bad choice, but I'm gonna first make sure that I can get rid of the other ones. It's definitely not to connect, not interest, not insure, not clothe. So it does end up being rob, because though I was hesitant to pick it in the beginning, it's the best choice out of all the ones that we're presented with. Number 4, precepts, line 16 means what? So let's go back. It says, she now commenced to practice her husband's precepts. So these are his rules, his suggestions, his beliefs, right? His way of thinking. So this would be principles, would be the best answer. Douglas partly attributes the change in his mistress to what? Well, he says that it's because of her husband. So the answer to this has to be D, her husband's views. Number 6, as used in line 22, narrowly means what? So let's go back. From this time, I was most narrowly watched. So most carefully watched, right? So the best answer here is closely, right? Because that means that they have an eye on him at all times. So this is going to be A. Number 7, bestow upon means to do what? Well, we said that bestow upon was to give, right, or exchange. And give is literally one of our answers here. So that's going to be the correct answer. The best word to describe Douglas as a boy is to do what? Well, the biggest thing that this entire passage is about is he was going to learn how to read no matter what. So the best answer here is going to be determined. Douglas compares knowledge to bread because of what? Well, we know that bread and knowledge are the two things that he's comparing here, because the local poor white boys in the neighborhood would love the bread that he's giving them because they need it for nourishment, whereas he needs it. He would rather go hungry because to him, the bread of knowledge is much more valuable. So the best answer here, let's go through the choices. Knowledge is free while bread is costly. No. Knowledge and bread are both nourishing. This seems like a good answer. Knowledge is necessary to make bread. That's not true. Knowledge and bread are both inaccessible. That's not true either. Knowledge is desirable while bread is essential. Well, to Douglas, knowledge is not desirable. To him, knowledge was essential as well. So let's get rid of that one. And the answer is going to be answer choice B. So I hope everyone can see from how I went through this passage, right? How we annotated every single portion. And because we took the time to annotate, right, it became much more doable for the questions and they went much more quickly, as well as confidence. So the number one thing I get whenever students first do reading comprehension with me, they tell me that they never do it quite as confidently as I go through it. And I wouldn't say the word is quickly, right? I do go through it quickly, but I think the reason why it seems like it's quick is because I don't do what a lot of other people do in the sense of after I read a question, I'm not like stuck between two answer choices. You'll rarely, if ever, see me be stuck between two answer choices. And that's because I think to myself, and Ms. Queller and I have done this in the past as well, and other things. In line 8, Douglas emphasizes that his mistress was tender-hearted in order to 100%, like Francis loves to think of it that way,
Yeah.
and everyone here should, right?
Let's
Because
together. Is that okay? Let's do this piece together. So look, everyone, let's take, is that okay, Mo? Let's start from the beginning because we have 10 minutes. So let's use this opportunity. Okay. So everyone take a good look at the page. So you see that there's choice A, B, C, D, or E. So you're not going to get like 50% if you get one right. And you're not going to get like, 80% if you get two right. So it's either 100% yes or 100% no, right? Everyone totally sees that, right? So it definitely has to be A or B or C or D or D. So now look at the question 1, right? It says compliance. So it's not compliance 90% means or 80%. It 100% means. Does everyone understand what I'm getting at here? You want to pick the most definitive answer possible. Then look at the next question in line 8. Douglas emphasizes that his mistress was tender-hearted. He doesn't emphasize it 50%. He doesn't emphasize it 10%. He emphasizes it 100%. So his emphasis is 100%. Why was his mistress tender-hearted? Do you see that? Next question. As used in line 13, divest, it doesn't 20% mean, it 100%. Is everyone following along? It's the most definitive possible answer. So let's keep going. Next one. Precepts, line 16. Who can tell me in the chat? Is it a 10%, 20%, or 100%? It 100% means. Got it? Yes, Gabby. Perfect. Okay. Douglas partly attributes the change in his mistress. So he attributes it a little bit or a lot? Anyone? A little bit, or I'll even let the parents chime in. What is he 100% saying? It's not like, don't look at the sky for an answer, SKY. Don't be a sky tester. And this is also not your moment to pray. This is really your moment to say, what am I factually seeing in the passage? If you can't prove it, don't choose it. Don't choose it. Make sure that you can see the answer. All right. So he's not saying it might be 20% right. Sometimes the question, Mo, if you could help me just give me samples of questions. Sometimes the questions are like, in your opinion, is it A, B, C, D, or E? There's no opinion. It's A, B, C, or D.
Yeah.
Right. So the author somewhat says, it is partly true. There's nothing part. If it's a multiple choice, A, B, C, and D, if the answer choice is E, A, B, C, and D are wrong. So you have to pick the answer that's 100% right. All right. Then you want to avoid extreme answers. I'm just quickly looking at number 9. Douglas compares knowledge to bread because he compares knowledge to bread 100%. Why is he comparing knowledge to bread? Don't tell me part of the reason. And then you look, knowledge is free. Is this factually in the passage? Knowledge and bread are both nourishing. Do you guys notice it's like a really like simple answer? Did you notice that? Like, how can you ever go wrong with that word choice? Knowledge and bread are both nourishing. Like, that can just like never be wrong. I mean, it's not poison, right? Knowledge and bread are both nourishing. Let's look at C. Knowledge is necessary to make bread. Nope. Knowledge and bread are both inaccessible. Can we circle D? Can we circle it? D is a terrible choice for an answer. Do you know why? Why is it a terrible choice? Look at the word inaccessible. Inaccessible. It's 100% never ever inaccessible. You can never get access to it. This is totally the wrong answer choice. Don't choose this. When you see the word inaccessible, don't choose it. Actually, well, since we have a few minutes, we can make a little heart chart. Let's make a heart. Mo, it's our moment of love. I do love Mo in a very professional way. Mo loves me too, right, Mo? In a professional way. We've had our
Of
moments.
course.
We've known each other for over 10 years. So it's definitely, it has to be love for this to keep going. All right. Listen, let's pick some words that we love. How about May, M-A-Y? I don't know, Mo, maybe you could help me out. So these are words to choose. So let's put like word, actually, let's make the most use of our 5 minutes together. So let's use the word may, let's use the word can, C-A-N. Like just some like simple love. Yeah, yes, Nova. It's a very platonic love. Let's use some like maybe, can be, could. Just like these are words that are these are generally, so let's put above the heart words to choose. These are good words. May, can, might happen, M-I-G-H-T. Like these are good words to choose. And then let's put like a no smoking sign, a circle with a strike through it. So on the
Mhm.
right part, we'll put that. And these, let's put above that words to avoid. Words to avoid. What are some, by the way, in case you guys are curious, I'm a lawyer. These are some very advanced strategies that I also used for the LSAT and when preparing for the New York State Bar exam, which I passed in my first try. Thought I should rub that in. No, I'm kidding. Go. Okay, words to avoid. Don't use words like inaccessible. Don't use words like never. Don't use words like always. It's always going to happen. What if it doesn't happen one time? Then what do you do? Don't use words like any word that is synonymous with 100% yes. Don't use that. Any word that is synonymous with 100% no. Like nothing extreme. Don't use, I don't know, Mo, give me examples off the top of my head. What, any guys, can you type it in? Type anything that's like 100%. It's never going to happen. It is absolutely, absolutely, solely. Mo, can you help me with the word choices?
Yeah, I put down must, impossible, right? Absolutely. You said that one. Yeah, things like when you see them, you'll know, right?
Will. It will happen. The sky will fall. What are you thinking choosing this answer? Don't choose that answer choice. It will happen. We will see aliens come from Mars. Don't choose these answers. Don't choose answers that give you no room for error. You need breathing room in your answer choices because these are absolute choices, right? Oh, good. Wait. Let me look at the chat box. Hold on. I have a little cutie infant near guys. So hold on. Oh my God. I love this group. I love this group. It's platonic, by the way. It's platonic. And I'm a little emotional. I had a baby recently, so I'm probably using. Speaking of love, you know which words you should avoid? Extreme words. Hate. The author hates blah, blah, blah. Oh, you know what other words are bad? Don't use words like indifferent. How does the author feel about the passage? He is indifferent. Why would he write a passage if he's indifferent to the passage? It doesn't make sense. Don't choose that. Don't choose these answer choices.
Excuse me?
Yes, I'm here.
I have another word to choose. Possibly.
Possibly goes in the heart because possibly could be true, right?
Yeah.
So it's possible that it could happen. Possibly, let's use the word maybe. Maybe is a good one. Wait, let me look at the chat box. Hold on. Hold on. I'm looking at the words. Wow, you guys gave me so many good words. Okay, ready? So Nova, impossible, don't use it. Forever, impossible, don't use it. Eternity, don't use it. I'm up to Rudra, I'm up to you. Extremely, that's a tough one. It is extremely unlikely. I mean, you know, it gives you room, so it's okay. Always is out. Kelly, don't avoid the word like always. Wall at Edric, right? Edric, don't use the word totally because it's 100%. Don't use the word always. Kelly, every single time this happens. No, it's absolute wording. Avoid it. Avoid the word definitely. Emily, inescapable. It's very extreme. Avoid, let's write that down. Avoid, never. Ivy wrote down the word never. Don't choose it. Impossible. This must happen. What in general, avoid, you know which answer choices you should use? Let's put in the heart chart. Wishy-washy wording. Completely, David. Completely. I'm happy that you guys are putting this on. Completely is like too much. Don't choose it. Absolutely. Right? This is absolutely going to happen. Don't do that because you're giving yourself no room to breathe. Is everyone following me? Yes? Okay, listen, guys, it's 8 o'clock. I want to say thank you. I'm going off the video. Are you ready? Is everybody ready? I have a surprise. I have a cutie little baby to show everyone in the group. Okay, ready? Who wants to see the baby? Ready? Who wants to see the baby? Hold up. Wait, guys.
I want to see the baby.
Who wants to see the baby?
Nobody
Wait,
does.
hold on. The baby. Baby. Anyone? Hold on. Wait, I'm figuring this out. Am I seeing me or the baby? Why is there rose up here? Wait, do you guys see a baby now? Hold on.
Cute.
No, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Where am I doing? I can't even see.
No, we
I
can see
literally
Jacob. Yeah.
Can you see me? Oh, here we go. Hello, my little. Oh, isn't he the cutest? My little Jacob. Hello, Jacob. Hello. Say hello. Let's teach Jacob. Who wants to teach Jacob for 1 minute? Jacob, what words are we going to avoid? Mo, let's go through the heart chart. What are we avoiding? We're avoiding. Mo, can we go?
We're avoiding words like inaccessible, never, completely, always, every, certainly, must, indifferent, impossible, absolutely, will, and hate.
Just avoid these words. And love, the author loves it. He doesn't love, he doesn't hate, he's not indifferent. He's okay. He somewhat likes or he somewhat dislikes. Okay. Don't pick extremes. I'm not telling, like, just avoid it because you want and then let's go over the list of words that you could that are likely that you want to gravitate towards. Which ones are you gravitating towards? We're teaching the baby. Who can teach me? What are some good words to gravitate towards? Maybe words. May, can, it could happen. How could you ever say something is wrong when it has the word may in it? It may be right. It may not be right. Good. Is everyone following? Mo Khan, I want to thank you so much. And Mo, this is your chance to see the baby.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone, I want to thank you guys so much. And I hope that you got a lot out of this. And maybe Mo just show the screen so they can do a screenshot. They'll have a recap of this.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I love having this opportunity to so publicly thank you, Mo, for the many, many, many years that I've been able to work with you. It's really been an honor. We've had a lot of ups and downs, certainly a journey. I do want to give you advice, please, with the Hunter exam. So Mo, can you go back to the first page? Some kids want to take a photo of the first page.
Of course. This one, I think?
Yeah. I want to give you guys just some free advice with the testing. Knowledge is something that no one can ever take away from you. You're never, ever going to lose knowledge. You can lose a house, a car, you can lose a body part, like you can lose an arm. You're not losing knowledge. So just remember, knowledge is power. And in your life, it's remarkable. If you really think about it, knowledge is so valuable. People fight over it. It's a huge topic of discussion with politicians right now. It's a big platform. Knowledge is power. And you have to remember, knowledge is something no one's taking away from you. You'll always have knowledge, this ability. All right. You'll have it. You guys are so smart. You're so witty. Use this time to learn, develop, and grow. And, be careful who the messenger is telling you that you don't need knowledge, because you'll be surprised how much more of it you need. If I really, really had to tell you, I'm so happy that Mo Khan went after his MBA. Look at my life. Look at how things turned out. I run a business. I'm a lawyer. You know, if I had to do it over, I would have gone to school an extra year and I would have gone for one more professional degree on top of my law degree, because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And you will never lose that in your entire life. You will have your degree is going to be on your wall forever. The house might burn down. The degree is still there. Go back in the database, okay? Please remember, knowledge is a very, very valuable tool, and don't let anyone tell you anything different about that. It is a fact, okay? With that being said, you guys really think the baby's cute? You want to see all the babies? I have multiple babies. You guys know that, right? You guys know that. You want to see all the babies? I have full. This is the baby room. This is so funny that I'm doing this. Look at the little babies, my little babies. Hello, my babies. My kids all have the same middle name. It's Ivy. Ivy is the same middle name for my children, which I thought was really funny. Anyway, I didn't plan on having a baby moment, but since the baby's awake, why not? And also Mokan, I get to show you the baby. All right. Anyway, what was the last most important thing I said? Who can type for me? Knowledge is power. Everyone, let's do it as a group. Let's do it as like a seance. Mo, can you unmute everyone? Let's say knowledge is power. Wait, am I host? Mo, am I host?
Yes, you are host.
I'm gonna unmute everyone because I want everyone to say knowledge is power. Let's close with that. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Keep
Knowledge is power.
And you know what? And when those politicians tell you you don't need this for that exam, you know what you tell them? What are you gonna tell them? Tell them knowledge is
Power.
power.
Knowledge is power.
Yay! Who did that? A+. Who did that? Yes, knowledge. We tell the baby, knowledge is power. You're gonna learn algebra and geometry. You're gonna learn everything you need to learn. You're gonna learn how to speak and how to project. Why? Because knowledge is power. Got it?
That's cool.
Baby likes
That's anyway. You guys are looking at a 1-month-old. 4 weeks, babe. Say hello. 5 weeks is Friday. 5 weeks. All right. Enjoy, guys. Thank you so much, Mokan. Thank you so much. We have, if you go to our YouTube channel, we have some old videos. So Mo did a video 2 weeks ago, right? Thank you so much. We're good. Hey Mo, can I put you on the spot for another webinar?
I have to check my schedule, but I think we can make
allowed
another one
to do, I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, but I feel like you can't say no. There are 40 people listening. Right, guys, let's beg. Please, Mo, let's do it again.
Please.
We love your what. Please, everyone together. Please.
Please.
Let's do it again. Come on, Mo, let's do it.
Sure, we'll do another one.
Good. So Mo, we're going to schedule another one so that we have it. And we are running the course as well. So keep that in mind too. Okay. Gosh, the baby's really into this webinar. Baby, say knowledge power. Doop, doop, doop.
Okay, now, connect to us. So please, you have to
He's not there yet. Nope. Not happening. Wow. Well, I guess he's done with this webinar. All right. Okay. Thank you, Mo. Thank you so much. And that's it. I want to thank everyone for listening and for being here. And I'm really glad we're part of this moment together. All right. What are we going to say before we close? And then we can log off. Knowledge is
Power.
later.
Guys,
Battery later. Get up.
knowledge is
power.
yeah. All right, guys, I'm very happy that you are here. I hope that we really got to learn a lot. Okay. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. That's it. We're
Power.
yay.
What category
Guys.
should fall in?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you guys so much for listening. All right. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
Take care,
Now-
everyone.
Thank
Power.
you. Bye.
Bye, guys. Enjoy. If you guys want to laugh, this is
Thank you. Bye.
this baby is part of a lot of Zooms. All right. Knowledge is power. Before you leave, just keep repeating it. Okay. All right. Go, go, go. Make me proud. Bye, guys. Thank you, Mo. I think you can log off. Okay. All right. Let's go.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Say bye, baby.